Deceptive tranquility. First contact. The Concordat fleet emerged from slip space at the edge of Earth's solar system, their obsidian vessels reflecting distant starlight like polished stone. In the heart of Artemis Base, buried 2 kilometers beneath the Pacific Ocean floor, Dr. Marcus Sullivan watched the holographic display with calculated calm. Hundreds of alien warships, each capable of sterilizing a continent, formed a menacing crescent around Neptune's orbit. Right on schedule, he remarked, eyes never leaving the display as Admiral Hiroshi Tanaka entered the command center. The admiral, a tall man with steel-gray hair and eyes that had witnessed 3 decades of secret preparation, nodded. The Concordat follows patterns. That's their weakness. For 27 years, humanity had intercepted the Concordat's communications, studied their technology, and prepared for this inevitable day. The coalition of 7 alien species had conquered over 800 worlds across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy, following the same playbook each time: arrival, demonstration of overwhelming force, and subjugation. Status of Chimera Protocol? Admiral Tanaka asked. Dr. Sullivan gestured toward another holographic display showing thousands of satellites, defense platforms, and sensor arrays, all completely invisible to conventional detection methods. Fully operational. The Concordat scans will only detect what we want them to see. Feigned weakness. Above them, through kilometers of rock, seawater, and carefully maintained deception, the Concordat sensors probed Earth. They would find a planet taking its first tentative steps into space, primitive satellites, a small international space station, and rudimentary lunar outposts. Nothing that could possibly challenge their technological supremacy. It was precisely the image humanity had cultivated for decades, ever since long-range sensors had detected the first Concordat scout ships at the edge of the solar system. While publicly maintaining the appearance of slow technological progress and petty international rivalries, Earth's nations had secretly united, pouring resources into quantum technology that operated beyond conventional physics. First contact protocols initiating, reported Lieutenant Daniels from her station. The Concordat flagship is broadcasting. A deep, resonating voice filled the command center, translated in real time by AI systems that had been studying Concordat languages for years. People of Earth, hear the voice of the Concordat. Your world has been selected for integration into our enlightened communion. Resistance brings only destruction. Submission brings elevation. You have 1 planetary rotation to present your leaders for terms of surrender. Hidden strength. Admiral Tanaka straightened his uniform. Send our prepared response. Earth's official transmission was appropriately humble and frightened, requesting clarification and time to consult among the planet's divided nations. Meanwhile, in secure facilities across the solar system and deep beneath Earth's oceans and mountains, humanity's true defenses hummed to life. On the Concordat flagship Eternal Dominance, Supreme Commander Drakther studied Earth's response with 6 eyes set in leathery gray skin. His ridge-lined face contorted in what passed for amusement among his species. Another primitive world, he rumbled to Sub-Commander Nilthor beside him. Their most advanced weapons are fusion bombs and chemical propellants. They still use fossil fuels. He gestured at the holographic representation of Earth's defenses, or lack thereof. Shall we proceed with the standard demonstration, Supreme Commander? Asked Nilthor, mandibles clicking with anticipation. Yes, Drakther decided. Target their largest military installation. Let them understand the futility of resistance. The demonstration. The flagship's main weapon charged, a graviton beam capable of splitting tectonic plates. Their sensors had identified a military complex in a region humans called Colorado as an optimal target for their demonstration of power. In Artemis Base, Dr. Sullivan watched the enemy flagship power up its weapons systems. They're targeting NORAD, he reported. Exactly as predicted. Admiral Tanaka nodded to his communications officer. Signal all commands. Operation Mirror Maze is active. As the Concordat's graviton beam lanced toward Earth, humanity finally revealed a fraction of its true capabilities. The beam struck what appeared to be empty sky above Colorado and simply vanished. Microseconds later, it emerged from a quantum aperture directly behind a Concordat support vessel, slicing through its supposedly impenetrable shields. The veil lifts. Supreme Commander Drakthar barely had time to process what had happened before alarms blared throughout his vessel. Impossible, he growled. Their technology level. Multiple new contacts, interrupted Nilthar, compound eyes widening. Energy signatures unlike anything in our database. What the Concordat had dismissed as debris and defunct satellites transformed into advanced human defense platforms. Quantum fields materialized around the alien fleet, trapping their vessels in localizing bubbles of altered spacetime. Admiral Tanaka straightened to his full height. Send the real message. Dr. Sullivan's voice carried across all frequencies, broadcasting in perfect Concordat standard, attention Concordat forces. For decades, we have studied you. We have decoded your transmissions, analyzed your tactics, and prepared accordingly. You expected to find a primitive civilization ready for conquest. Instead, you have awakened a prepared adversary. The first engagement for Earth's sovereignty lasted less than 14 minutes. When it ended, the vanguard of the Concordat fleet was in ruins, their surviving ships trapped and disabled by technologies they hadn't believed possible. They'll return, Admiral Tanaka said quietly, with everything they have. Dr. Sullivan nodded, already reviewing data from the battle. Yes, he agreed, but now they know we're not the easy conquest they expected. He paused, looking at the display showing the disabled alien vessels. The game of deception is over. The real war begins now. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden strength emerged from decades of secrecy. The Concordat was about to learn why challenging humanity had been their greatest miscalculation in 8 centuries of conquest. The veil drops. Desperate retaliation. Within the damaged bridge of the Eternal Dominance, Supreme Commander Drakthar slammed his armored fist against the command interface. Sparks erupted from the impact, adding to the chaos of emergency lighting and damage control systems. Impossible, he roared, his leathery face contorted with rage. How could a species this primitive hide such technology? Subcommander Nilthar worked frantically at the ship's remaining functional systems. Quantum signatures unlike anything in our records, Supreme Commander. Our sensors weren't calibrated to detect them. The surviving Concordat ship struggled against the quantum fields that had trapped them, their engines straining against physics that no longer operated according to normal parameters. Of the initial fleet of 30 vessels, 18 were completely disabled, 5 destroyed, and the remainder, including the flagship, severely damaged. Release emergency transmission protocols, Drakthar ordered. The High Conclave must be warned. Strategic Command. 2,000 kilometers below Earth's surface, in a cavern system naturally formed but extensively modified, Commander Olivia Reeves oversaw the tactical display at Prometheus Command. Unlike the ocean-based Artemis facility, Prometheus had been built within the planet's mantle, accessible only through quantum teleportation systems. Enemy flagship is attempting to send a quantum burst transmission, reported Lieutenant Harrison from his monitoring station. Shall we intercept? Commander Reeves, a tall woman with close-cropped silver hair and eyes hardened by decades of preparation for this very day, shook her head. Let it through. We want them to call for reinforcements. Director Francis Monroe, civilian head of Earth's Defense Intelligence Agency, raised an eyebrow. Bold move, Commander. The Concordat needs to understand exactly what they're facing, Reeves replied, adjusting the holographic display to show the positions of Earth's hidden defense grid. When their main fleet arrives, we'll be ready to deliver a message that will echo across the galaxy. Desperate escape. On the Eternal Dominance, Drakthar received confirmation that their distress call had been transmitted successfully. Prepare emergency slipspace protocols, he ordered. We must regroup with the main fleet. The quantum fields are disrupting our drive alignment, Nilthar reported, mandibles clicking nervously. We cannot generate a stable portal. As if in response to their dilemma, the quantum fields trapping the Concordat vessels suddenly shifted. Several human ships materialized around them, sleek vessels with hulls that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light. "Attention Concordat vessels," came a transmission in their own language. "This is Commander Olivia Reeves of Earth Defense Force. Your ships are disabled. Your technology is outmatched. You are being permitted to retreat with a message for your leadership." Drakther bristled at the human's tone, but survival took precedence over pride. "What message?" he growled. "Earth is not yours to conquer," came the reply. "Return in force, and you will face the consequences of your aggression." The quantum fields parted, creating a narrow corridor of normal spacetime. With damaged systems and wounded pride, the remaining Concordat vessels limped away, their slip space drives creating unstable portals that carried them back toward their staging area in a neighboring star system. Council of War. In Prometheus Command, Earth's military and scientific leadership gathered to assess the results of their first engagement with the Concordat. "The enemy will return with their main battle fleet within 3 standard weeks," Admiral Tanaka announced, studying the projected invasion paths on the holographic display. "Based on intercepted communications, we estimate between 3 and 5,000 vessels." Dr. Marcus Sullivan nodded in agreement. "The Concordat has never encountered significant resistance. This defeat will trigger an overwhelming response. They cannot allow their aura of invincibility to be tarnished." Commander Reeves manipulated the tactical display, revealing Earth's true defensive capabilities. "Then we proceed with Phase 2. The quantum mirror network is ready, and the Phantom Fleet has completed final system checks." Director Monroe reviewed the data with narrowed eyes. "The risk is considerable. We're betting everything on technology that's never been field-tested at this scale." "We've had decades to prepare," Dr. Sullivan countered. "Every simulation confirms the viability of our approach." Admiral Tanaka nodded gravely. "Commence full deployment of the Prometheus network. All military personnel to battle stations. Civilian populations to designated shelter zones." The gathering storm. In the farthest reaches of the solar system, beyond the orbit of Pluto, thousands of stealth platforms activated, their quantum cores pulsing with energy that existed in multiple dimensional states simultaneously. These were the nodes of the Prometheus network, humanity's most advanced defensive system, developed in absolute secrecy for over 20 years. Meanwhile, throughout the system, Earth's true fleet emerged from hidden docks within hollowed-out asteroids and subterranean bases. These ships bore little resemblance to the crude rockets and shuttles that had maintained humanity's facade of technological inferiority. Instead, they featured quantum displacement drives, phase shift armor, and weapons systems that operated on principles the Concordat had never encountered. Galactic ripples. On the Concordat homeworld of Draconis, the High Conclave received Supreme Commander Drakther's report with disbelief bordering on outrage. "Impossible," declared High Counselor Vex Thurian, his crystalline form pulsing with angry red light. "No civilization at Earth's development stage could possess such technology." General Valzek, Supreme Military Commander of the Concordat forces, studied the battle data with growing concern. "The evidence is irrefutable, High Counselor. The humans possess advanced quantum manipulation capabilities far beyond our understanding." "Then they must have received outside assistance," insisted another counselor. "Perhaps the Arcturus Collective or even the long-defeated Myriad." "Whatever the source," General Valzek replied, "this threat must be eliminated completely. I recommend committing the 3rd and 4th Grand Fleets to this operation." High Counselor Vex Thurian's crystalline structure pulsed in agreement. "Authorized. Humanity must be made an example of. No species can be allowed to resist the Concordat and survive." Final preparations. As Earth prepared for the coming storm, Commander Reeves supervised the final deployment of the Phantom Fleet, 200 vessels equipped with dimensional shift capability that would form the spearhead of humanity's defense. "All ships report ready, Commander," announced Captain Thomas Wright, her second-in-command. "Phase shift systems calibrated and synchronized with the Prometheus network." Commander Reeves nodded, her expression resolute. The Concordat believes they're facing a technologically inferior species that got lucky with a few advanced weapons. They have no concept of what they're truly facing. In his laboratory deep beneath the Atlantic seafloor, Dr. Sullivan made final adjustments to the quantum core that powered the entire defensive network. The technology he had helped develop operated on principles that redefined physics itself, the culmination of breakthroughs that humanity had kept hidden from prying eyes. Prometheus network fully operational, he reported to Admiral Tanaka. All nodes synchronized and dimensionally phased. The Admiral's weathered face showed the weight of responsibility he carried. Then we are as ready as we'll ever be. When the Concordat arrives, they'll learn that humanity is not merely another conquest to be added to their empire. Across Earth, civilian populations moved into vast underground shelters, built decades earlier under the guise of mining operations and subway expansions. The planet appeared abandoned from space, another calculated move to draw the Concordat into humanity's carefully laid trap. The stage was set for a confrontation that would send shockwaves throughout the galaxy. Earth stood ready, its true strength about to be unleashed against an enemy that had never known defeat. Counter-invasion. Fleet of Vengeance. The Concordat Armada emerged from slipspace in a cascading wave of reality distortions, their arrival tearing temporary holes in the fabric of spacetime. Over 4,000 warships arranged themselves in attack formation at the edge of the solar system, their silhouettes blotting out distant stars like an artificial eclipse. In Prometheus Command, the tactical display transformed into a sea of red markers, each representing a vessel capable of planetary devastation. They've committed nearly half their total fleet strength, noted Director Monroe, his voice unnaturally calm given the circumstances. More than they've ever deployed against a single target. Admiral Tanaka's weathered face remained impassive. Pride. We didn't just defeat their advance force, we humiliated them. The Concordat hasn't faced a genuine challenge in millennia. The command center operated with practiced efficiency as personnel monitored quantum sensors and finalized the AI battle networks. Humanity's response would demonstrate just how grievously the Concordat had underestimated Earth's capabilities. Prometheus network operating at 100% capacity, reported Dr. Preston Winters, who had taken over system operations while Dr. Sullivan prepared the quantum core. All nodes synchronized and dimensionally phased. Commander Olivia Reeves approached the central holographic display. Phantom Fleet reports all vessels ready, Admiral. Quantum displacement drives charged and weapons systems active. Admiral Tanaka gave a single, solemn nod. Execute Operation Quantum Fist. Impossible tactics. On the Concordat flagship Sovereign Dominion, General Valzek studied tactical displays with predatory focus. His elongated head, covered in iridescent scales that shifted color with his mood, currently displayed patterns of confidence and determination. Deploy in standard conquest formation, he ordered. Target their planetary defense installations first, then orbital infrastructure. I want their defenses neutralized before our ground forces deploy. Strategic Overseer Quillrack, a member of the Concordat's analytical species with multiple branching limbs and a neural structure capable of processing vast data streams simultaneously, monitored the sensor readings with growing concern. General, I'm detecting unusual energy fluctuations throughout the system, he reported. Their pattern doesn't match any known defense system. Valzek dismissed the concern with a gesture. The humans have a few technological surprises, but nothing that can withstand the full might of the Concordat. Begin the attack. The Armada's front line charged their main weapons, graviton beams capable of cutting through planetary crusts. As the energy built to critical levels, space itself seemed to ripple around the fleet. Energy surge detected from Jupiter's direction. Quillrack announced suddenly, his voice rising in alarm. Before General Valzek could respond, reality itself seemed to fold. Hundreds of human vessels emerged simultaneously from quantum space, their advanced drives creating dimensional rifts that defied conventional physics. Multiple contacts. Quillrack's limbs moved frantically across control surfaces. They're using some form of quantum tunneling technology. Our targeting systems cannot establish locks. Dimensional warfare. The Phantom Fleet moved with impossible precision, their formation shifting and adapting faster than organic minds could track. What the Concordat commanders didn't realize was that each human ship was partially controlled by quantum-entangled AI systems, allowing them to coordinate at speeds that made traditional combat doctrine obsolete. Execute Prometheus Protocol, Commander Reeves ordered from her position on the command vessel Defiance. All ships engage at will. The space between the two fleets erupted with quantum distortions as human ships phased in and out of normal space, their weapons striking from impossible angles. The Concordat's energy shields, designed to repel conventional attacks, proved useless against weapons that simply bypassed them through higher dimensions. General Valzek watched in horror as his perfectly arranged formation dissolved into chaos. Impossible. They're anticipating our maneuvers before we execute them. He was right. The quantum AI controlling Earth's fleet had run billions of simulations, analyzing every possible Concordat response based on their historical battle data. The humans weren't just fighting the current battle, they were fighting every possible version of it simultaneously. The turning point. The battle reached its climax when the human fleet executed a maneuver that would have been suicide without their quantum technology. Ships appeared inside the Concordat formation itself, their weapons firing in perfect synchronization. Energy beams twisted through quantum apertures, striking multiple targets from multiple angles simultaneously. By the first stars, Valzek breathed as he watched a single human weapon discharge eliminate 15 of his capital ships. The beam had somehow existed in multiple planes of reality at once, striking the same targets from different quantum states. The Concordat's mighty armada, the greatest fleet ever assembled in the galaxy's history, began to break apart. Ships fled in disarray, their commanders unable to comprehend, let alone counter, the technologies they faced. Signal all commands, Admiral Tanaka ordered from Prometheus Command, allowing himself a small smile. Execute Pursuit Protocol. Don't let them regroup at their fallback points. The human fleet split into precise hunting groups, each led by quantum tactical systems. They pursued the fleeing Concordat ships, ensuring that news of their defeat and humanity's true capabilities would spread throughout the galaxy. Ripples across the stars. In the aftermath, as damage reports streamed in, Director Monroe approached Admiral Tanaka and Commander Reeves. "This victory will change everything," he said quietly. "The Concordat's aura of invincibility is shattered. Other species will begin to question their rule." Admiral Tanaka nodded, already thinking about the next phase. "And that's exactly what we're counting on. The real battle isn't just military, it's about showing the galaxy there's another path forward." Commander Reeves studied the tactical display, where the last Concordat signatures were vanishing into hyperspace. "The counterattack has already begun. Our diplomatic channels are detecting unusual activity across Concordat territory. Several subjugated worlds are showing signs of resistance. Then we move to Phase 3, Tanaka decided. Contact the Arcturus Collective. It's time to build our coalition. A new dawn. 3 months after the Battle of Seoul, as it came to be known throughout the galaxy, Admiral Tanaka stood in the newly constructed Hall of Concord on Luna. Before him were representatives from 27 formerly subjugated species, each with their own history of oppression under Concordat rule. For too long, the Concordat has maintained their empire through fear and technological superiority, he addressed the gathering. Earth demonstrated that their power is not absolute. Now, together, we can forge a new path for this galaxy, one based on cooperation rather than domination. Ambassador Nyl Terran of the Arcturus Collective, a species that had maintained a hidden resistance against the Concordat for centuries, stepped forward. "The humans have accomplished what we thought impossible. They've given hope to species that had forgotten what hope feels like." In the months that followed, the coalition grew. Earth shared its quantum technology selectively, empowering former Concordat subjects to defend themselves while establishing protocols to prevent misuse. The galaxy's balance of power, static for millennia, began to shift dramatically. On the Concordat homeworld of Draconis, civil unrest spread as news of their defeat became impossible to suppress. Species that had been integrated into the lower echelons of Concordat society began questioning the narrative of their rulers' invincibility. High Counselor Vexthurian faced the increasingly fractious conclave, his crystalline form pulsing with agitation. This rebellion must be crushed utterly. We cannot allow the humans and their allies to undermine our divine right to rule. But the truth was already spreading across the stars, the age of the Concordat was ending. A new era had begun, one where humanity and its allies would forge a different kind of interstellar community, built on principles of mutual respect and cooperation rather than conquest and subjugation. Earth's deception had transformed into revolution, and the galaxy would never be the same.